Hey guys, believe it or not, I have not heard this song. I did hear a snippet of it the other day riding home, listening to a podcast. Now I seen this dude, this right here, what you're looking at right here. I seen this pop up in my feed, and I seen the Men North of Richmond. And I'm so stupid. We live next town over is Richmond.
I live in Richmond too.
And I thought that this was some local dude singing about Richmond is the reason why I was even on my feed. That's how stupid I am about this. I didn't watch it. And then it popped up in there again, and then it popped up when someone was reacting to it. And then a couple days after that, I was driving home from work. I got a long commute, and these finance guys, nothing about music, nothing about politics or anything like that, brought this up. And so then at that point, I realized this is kind of like a lightning bolt. I guess people will have their own views of this song. So he said in the podcast I was listening to that it's kind of speaking to the disaffected Trump voters. And then later on, there was like 4 guys on that podcast, and then later on someone said, well, it's just, the working man type guy that this is appealing to. So that, I'm a working man, always been a working man. Not super into politics, but I wanted to listen to this while it's, strike while the iron's hot. It's out there. Everyone seems to be talking about it. And basically give our take on it. I'm sure Jeffrey, who is somewhat political, I'm sure he'll have his take. And you guys don't really probably know anything about it, I'm assuming.
No, I haven't heard this song yet, but I have heard about the guy, how he's been turning down these huge record deals because he doesn't want the fame or anything. He just wants to put the art out.
He really just made the song up and just put it on YouTube like himself?
Yeah, like himself and his team. That's the only people who's a part of this right now.
Okay. So, pretty much going into it blind. Let's see what we think.
Been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours, bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. People like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. All it is, living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows it all. Just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but know that you do. Your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men know the rich men. I wish politicians look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge round. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. All it is, living in the new world.
Get a quick stop in right quick, boys.
All right.
So what's everybody feeling so far?
So, you want to start?
Okay.
For those who do know me, I'm not a huge country guy unless it's like Johnny Cash or Waylon Jennings, but I will say I can add Oliver Anthony to that list. I'm not a huge country guy, but this is good. I do like it.
Okay. I like his guitar. I like how he's playing it.
His vocals are good too.
See, I disagree.
No, they're not.
I disagree.
When I seen the thumbnail, I thought it was a band.
He's whiny. This dude is whiny. Like, if you want to call somebody who sounds like he's whining through a whole song, this is him.
I think he might have.
I know it's a folk thing, so I'm trying not to judge it too hard on that. But if you listen to him, he literally sounds like he's screaming like almost a whiny voice at times.
No.
And he's talking about like things going back to this and people whining about stuff while he's whining about them.
Well, it sounds like
I didn't get like a whiny voice. I don't see how anyone can say this dude's voice sounds like he's whiny. I like his
The
voice.
consistency is off.
I like his voice. I like the stripped down version he's got going here. I thought it was a banjo when I seen the thumbnail. I see he's actually playing a guitar.
yeah, the circle can get that.
I like his voice. He definitely put short, fat people on blast there with his last
I was gonna
verse.
say that's my one thing is like doing what I do. The idea that that's what you get welfare for, that's not even accurate. I work in a job where you deal with that, and that's not accurate. So
I'm trying. I do, which I'm going to touch on it later. I totally agree and love the first line he's talking about how they're basically what he's getting at, as far as the way I look at it, is how the government is surveilling us, and they all are. We all know it. Snowden brought it out
That's
under
fair.
the, and he's talking about they don't think you know, but I know that you do. That's on point. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Yeah.
no, there are parts of his lyrics that I feel like I'm with you though. The fudge round thing, like one,
I thought that was
Yeah,
a
that
bit
caught me
out
off guard.
out of
that,
place, actually.
that was
Yeah.
like
I don't. That's
super-
definitely not political though. How's that? He's just like calling out fat people. I don't even
Yeah.
understand. He's saying because of the welfare thing.
yeah, he's saying
Okay,
that
'cause
the
of
two
welfare.
are synonymous,
Okay, I got you.
and that's.
All right. Let's finish her
We'll
out.
go right
Let's
now.
finish her out.
With an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men know the rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my conversation that you guys so really cut off.
Oh, you gotta jump in there, bud.
Well, I
Yeah, man,
was,
suck
and
it
then
up.
you guys jumped in and took over.
masculinity.
Yeah.
And then
God,
you
man,
went
man.
straight in and started playing.
We
I leaned
love
over.
you.
I
I
didn't
didn't-
cousin Jumper, and I was like, I didn't get to finish my
Oh, I thought
I love you, man.
So what I was saying is, I agree with Pops. I like that he's just a one man band with a guitar. I like that, but I agree on cousin Jeffro. Dude, voice is not very good.
He's whiny.
I don't know. It's like he's like straining his vocal cords or something, and then they start squeaking. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there.
To me, it sounds like a country version of Kurt Cobain during Unplugged.
Dude, I'm not a huge fan of Nirvana, and I would say that they are better than this.
That's a good analogy, actually.
But my thing is like, I get it if that's what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
but some aesthetics don't fit for everybody. Like, people love Billie Eilish, and I can't stand her for the main reason that she's not singing, she's whispering.
She's
And this
very quiet.
this dude right here, my problem with him, in a nutshell, when it comes to his singing ability, is that the end, the way he started that, I was feeling that. He was like, I'm selling my soul. And then his voice does that weird like thing where it literally sounds like he's whining.
Like almost
So
like he's like
I
his voice is
guess
cracking
when
to
you
cry.
say you're whining, you're talking about his literal voice. When
Yes.
usually when I'm talking about whining, I'm talking about whatever the guy's talking about.
But if you listen to the lyrics, most artists you could call whiny then. Like, there's no consistency there. This is his voice
Well-
where he actually
well-
sounds like he's whining.
To-
And he's whining about people who are whining. It's
Okay,
like
well, my rebuttal to whining is, if we're going to get that deep and that pedantic about whining, I don't know how we got this far into whine. It's like your song, The Five Finger. That dude to me was whining because he was talking about like issues with his like personal family somehow, and kind of talking about himself, kind of like the dude. I'm so sorry, I was bad to you, girl. I'm so sorry. well, I got this real crazy idea. Quit being bad to her, you
Well,
did.
but-
It's just like, I don't like that sort of, like, if you're talking about Stevie Ray talking about life without you, that's not whining. Someone died.
But-
you know, there's a difference.
But
you know?
here's
I mean,
the thing: we were doing our reactions, and I actually looked this up afterwards to know what the Five Finger Death Punch song. That was him talking about the abuse that his family put him through. Like his family actually abused him as a kid.
But we wasn't for sure as
Yeah.
we would listen to that.
That's what I'm saying. So, but it kind of goes the same way what you were saying with the other song with the Stevie Ray. Like if you know that hits differently.
Yeah.
Versus not knowing that, because you said, well, you're just having family issues.
Yeah.
Versus this dude was abused.
Yes, that's pretty much what I thought about that song. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a different. For me, it hits different if I know that it's not just you are complaining about life versus you're talking about something that you went through that actually like hit you on a personal level. So
For me, I'm reading the lyrics now, guys.
so much today.
Dude, I'll tell you what, dude. That side of the room is dangerous.
I will say that I am not digging this line about 5'3" and you're 300 pounds.
Yeah,
and
that-
The welfare.
taxes ought not pay for your bags of fudge rounds. I'm not really digging that part of this song. Now, I will say I'm digging pretty much the rest of it, though. I do, I think he's talking about the CIA and the FBI surveilling us. But you can go back a long time ago, all the way underneath the Obama administration. He was supposed to be, when he was running, talking about how he was going to take it so easy, and he wanted the whistleblowers to come forward. And, well, what happened to Snowden? What kind of refuge did they offer Assange? They didn't offer him anything. Snowden still ain't back, and Trump didn't do anything for him either. I thought Trump might actually have the balls to pardon Snowden, but he didn't.
No, he
So
wouldn't.
Snowden is.
He was working with Russia the whole time.
I'm trying to.
Well, now, ladies.
I'm trying to like. Snowden
out
is
music.
a hero. So I don't. So and as far as I'm concerned, so is I know Assange isn't American, but he's a hero too. So you all can take that and do what you want
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
As far as
What Dad said.
They definitely brought to light things that
should have.
people assume, but there wasn't proof. And what happened to both of them after they did it.
And the whole thing here, I think how I do see how that guy was talking about how it's for the working class. A little story from me, like I remember back talking to my dad, probably my dad is 76. Now he has dementia now, so we can't have any actual conversations. But this is probably, maybe 10 years ago. So he would have been like mid to late 60s. He was still there. And he was talking about getting a job back in the mid 70s, in 75, 76, and how he was making, I want to say he said something like $7 an hour, $8 an hour at that time. And he was talking about how when he moved back up here from Tennessee back in, this would have been like the late 90s, he went out to start looking for jobs and all that. Now, my dad wasn't an educated man, so in case you guys are wondering, like, what was he? Well, because my dad was a factory worker, and that's what he was. He didn't have a bachelor's degree or a master's or any of that. So he started looking for a job, whatever, and he started seeing these jobs that are literally paying about the same of what he was making back in the mid 70s. So the pay really hadn't gone up. You look at our minimum wage. What's the minimum wage right now? I think it's like $7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but what's inflation doing? What's taxes doing? What's everything else is certainly going up. I know when I go to the grocery, I notice it. I know when I fill my tank up, I notice it.
Yeah.
So when he's talking about the dollar ain't shit and all that, I think he's like right on the money.
Straight facts.
Yeah.
And if you're going back to, I was born in '73 and I'm almost 50. If we're going back to 1970, my dad was making $7.50 an hour. And we're still talking about people now. Well, you got a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Something needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're spending all this money to the Ukraine war, which we have no business doing. And yet, what about our folks here? America should come first in America. That's the way I look at it. I don't know what this dude's politics are or whatever. I'm just talking. I'm not even talking Republican or Democrat. It should come down to we're in America. We're a sovereign country. We should come first. That's the way it is. That's the way it is in every country. So. If you got a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. That's the way I feel about it. So I think he's like right on the money. I don't like the fudge round deal though. I wish he wouldn't have put the welfare thing in there.
That's not even accurate.
People have, there are people that need help, and like you can't judge people like the way I think he kind of did right there. So I wish he didn't put that verse in there, but
Yeah.
other than that, like I'm totally on board with the song. So
I have a mixed reaction because lyrically, a good portion of this song is written really well. There are a lot of things. I've been working since I was 15. You know, there were times I do have a bachelor's degree, but it wasn't because I was spoon-fed. I had to work 2 jobs and go to school, working from 7 o'clock in the morning until almost midnight every day, and like still having to do my homework when I got home. You know, like I feel the vibe from that so much. One thing I want to talk about, because you're bringing up Ukraine. Yes, Biden has been in bed with Ukraine, but Trump was in bed with Russia. So if we're going to look at that point, you've got to look at it from both sides, because they had a lot of business deals. Where did a lot of those weapons and stuff come from? They came from the Trump administration, because Trump had his little buddy Putin. And you want to talk about dictator, Putin is a dictator. Putin is the definition of dictator. You can't.
yeah, but I don't agree with that whole premise. Like the whole Trump collusion with Russia has been
the collusion
false.
that they're talking about specifically, like as far as like they affected the election and national affairs. I'm not going to speak on that because I don't think that there's enough information. I'm talking about
There's
Trump.
not enough information for a collusion between Trump and Putin.
Yes, there is, bro.
There
are so
you gotta
many
bring those
different
facts. You gotta bring those facts.
But I'm saying like they had a
You're
personal
talking about like
relationship.
the dossier from Schiff?
No,
Adam
I'm
Schiff?
talking about they had a
Which
personal
they know is a
relationship.
complete
I'm talking
lie.
about a personal relationship. Not like necessarily the stuff that happened while they were in office, but they were working together and they did send weapons over to Russia on multiple occasions.
Well, I feel like you're either way. You're still getting off track though, because
you
like
brought
if you
up
want,
Ukraine.
because under the pretense that we're spending money on, we spent like what billions of dollars on Ukraine. We should be spending it here. It's not like a Republican. You're talking about Trump and Putin now. I'm talking about the money we spent. This guy's talking about the money.
But you're bringing up the political aspect from us helping Ukraine, and I don't feel like you're telling the full context there. It's got to be the full story if we're going to have that discussion.
Let me put it like this: we're sending money to a place that I don't think we should spend money to. And for me, if Trump was doing that, I would feel the same. The question for you would be, if Trump was doing that, would you feel the same? See, I would still say this exact same. If Trump right now, we was doing the exact same thing, everything exactly the way we've been doing under Biden. If Trump was in power now, doing all this stuff exactly the same way with Ukraine, I'd be like, Trump, what are you doing?
Well,
you need to take now. But can you honestly say that? See, I can honestly say that.
But here's my thing. Are we in the same context that there's a dictator who is literally like massacring people in their homes because he wants them to join with Russia?
Yes, I'm still.
Because if we're that context, then yes. I completely disagree, and I would still support that decision. Because there's more to this world than just the United States of America.
Dude, we could. First of all, there's so much propaganda that they feed us as far as like what's going on in these other countries.
Okay.
To actually to get us engaged in the war and get us behind it. So as far as because you're talking about this guy did this and you heard that from a news source, I have no way to really verify that.
Bombing school buildings.
Secondly, which you heard from Zelensky, of course. Yeah. Well, what's he going to say? But secondly, as far as like whether Putin. Everyone has, I made a point earlier about having a sovereign country. So Putin already told him his line in the sand was, do not put like your weapons here along the line of Ukraine, which used to be Russia, or there's going to be consequences. They decided they was going to go ahead and do it. He has a right to do whatever. It'd be the same way if we told Mexico, don't put this right here along our border here in the south, or there's going to be consequences, and they go ahead and do it, we would react to that. Now, would you be on the side of, no, I mean, because he has a right to do what he already told him. It used to be his land.
But this is the same guy who we're talking about who, if you badmouth him and criticize him for something he does, he'll put you in jail. And it's a known fact that he's done that multiple times. I
would say I agree with that.
And that's my thing.
Do you know how many shits I give about that though? But that's another country. He does what he does. So we still have no business dealing in his country.
And when you start talking about people getting killed who are citizens because of your war in your own country, I'm sorry, I disagree with you hardcore, because there are children in Ukraine who are going to school and got bombed and killed because of that.
No.
And there are mass graves to show it. It's not some political propaganda. That's my thing.
Continue. Because we're getting way off track.
Richmond, North of Richmond,
You knew
everybody.
this was gonna happen.
No, because I feel like you're going off in left field. Like when I'm bringing up specifically the money we're spending on wars and Ukraine specifically, but we could go all the way back to Afghanistan. I wasn't for going into Afghanistan. I wasn't for going in under the Bush Cheney going into Iraq. They're Republicans. You know what I said? I said they're war criminals.
And here's my
so,
thing, like
I don't change. You know what I'm saying? Because of a political party, I don't change.
Mine's not a political party either, though. Mine's because we're talking about Iraq and Afghanistan were because of things that were happening in their areas. And we didn't go to Iraq for any other reason than the Bush's oil war. That's the main reason why we went to
And we
Iraq.
went into Libya under the Obama administration because I believe that Gaddafi wanted to get off he wanted to get off using the dollar. Basically, he wanted to get more to a gold standard, and so we had to go in there and correct that. But regardless of whatever the reason was, we had no business going over there and messing around with Gaddafi in Libya under the Obama administration. Zero, none.
Well,
Obama's a war criminal. Same with Bush and Cheney, war criminal. I mean, it is what it is. We can't just go around like starting wars and like. I mean, we're getting way off track of what the song is, but like.
You're telling us.
Anyway, yeah, continue, bud, continue.
So, back to the song.
Yeah, go back.
I feel like you're mad now.
No, I mean, spending money on places where we shouldn't be spending money when Americans are, like he's talking about their own, welfare, which is the point I didn't like in the song. Like we could be helping these folks out here.
Listen, I do this every day. This is stuff that I do. I work with families who are in those places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So that's my one thing. I wasn't trying to go off left field, but you brought up Ukraine, and Ukraine for me is different than all those other moments because we're talking about where they actually went to that country and were bombing whole cities with people still inside of them.
And when we went to Iraq, they said Saddam was taking babies out and killing them and all that, which was propaganda. They used the exact same message, the exact same, all of it. It's all just the playbook. It's all
But
just the playbook.
except
At
the time,
it wasn't true.
They found mass graves later with a lot of people that they did that.
Oh, well, so under Hussein? Of course he killed folks and all that.
That's what I mean.
But we can't. But it's not
And we
up to
can't
us
play
to go
superhero
around.
every time. I agree.
It's not up to us to do that.
And I'm not saying that we should have necessarily gone over there. I'm saying that we need to fix the problems in this country, sure. But this notion that we are the only country in the world and we should never help out when there are things going on in other parts of the world, I disagree with that.
I guess
because at what point?
At what cost?
Well, and I'm not. I think this is the problem: is you're thinking strictly the cost. I'm thinking humanity, and I think that's what it boils down to. Because you can argue both, and neither are necessarily right or wrong, but they're two very different perspectives.
I guess I would end it, for me, as far as this, I would end it on this. Like when we went into Iraq, from what I know of, because a lot of Iraqis actually teamed up with the Americans. Mm-hmm. And then we went and left them high and dry. Now the stat I heard, which could be right or wrong, is that 1 million Iraqis ended up dying in that. And then we lost a few thousand of our men in that war as well. So the cost is money, and the cost is also lives. Now, since 1 million Iraqis died, I'm sure a lot of Americans don't really give two shits. And we know for sure that the government didn't, because we left them high and dry to get murdered because Hussein was still there. So we know what the government did to them. They didn't care they was going to get killed. So the cost that they paid was with their lives. So I'll end it on that for me.
And that's the thing, like the war criminal stuff, I mean, if you can, the thing is this is opinion, this is what we're talking about. But when you're talking about actually charging people with stuff, you have to have actual evidence. And with the way governments work in general, they aren't going to be forthcoming with a lot of that information. Like, literally, part of the thing that he's talking about here is government surveillance and those types of things.
The regular common
we could
man.
have a whole conversation about the things in America that people in power have done. We could have a whole channel to that. I don't want to do that.
I don't either.
This is not something we normally do. We actually talked about how this could potentially be something like what happened. You know,
And here we
it's
go.
okay to disagree. That's what I'm going to say. I think we kind of have some disagreements, but we agree on some things too.
Yeah.
Can we end it at that?
Yeah. No, I'm good. I think we just got sidetracked from the actual song.
So, back to the song. You rated it, right?
I did not rate it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us did.
Yeah, I don't think any of us
Well,
did.
we
Are you?
hijacked it.
A young lion. I don't even know what you even
Are
said.
you two done talking?
I haven't even. I started to say mine, and then he jumped in because I said the thing that I brought up about the Ukraine, and then we went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get to finish mine.
Yeah, I remember when that happened like
Thanks
30
for
minutes ago. I remember that.
So let me finish real quick,
Oh, okay.
and then I'm gonna shut
I
up.
will not interrupt henceforth. Go ahead.
It's cool, man. Just don't get mad, all right?
No, I'm not mad.
You want to take me downstairs? And
No, we're all good.
So, for me, like I said, there are parts of this song I really like. I do. The lyrics, for the most part, are good. 100% agree with the fudge round welfare tax lines. That's not accurate, and if you think that's accurate and that's how things work, you don't understand how human bodies work. You don't understand the things that are happening in our country, not around the world, and that's not how taxes work. But overall, there are lines in this song that are very, very well written. But for me, we talked about another song request where the voices sometimes can either make or break a song. And there are parts where his voice is actually really awesome in this song. And there are parts where I don't like his voice. I don't. I talked about, for me, he sounds whiny at times. It's so high-pitched it sounds whiny. So for me, I'm going to give this a 6.5 because lyrically, it's well written. I like the banjo. I like that he does a lot of his own stuff. I've heard some stuff since we talked about doing this where he's done things outside of the music that shows that he is really trying to do things to potentially make the world a better place. But I think some of those things that he's saying is counterproductive to what he's trying to do. So I think he probably should work on that a little bit. But overall, it's not a terrible song. So I call it slightly above average.
I agree.
Pops, I turned you guys out for a while.Id you even vote? You did?
What rating did you get?
Yeah, what did you rate this?
Oh no, I thought you meant like vote like in politics.
No, we're not doing that. Let's not.
I would give this song. Honestly, I would probably give this song like a 9 if you didn't have the fudge round 5 for 3. So I'm gonna have to give it a solid 8. I do like the dude's voice. I will listen to some more of his music. I actually do like the dude's voice.
Which furthers my whiny theory about Pops.
So
There's no consistency.
So it's irrational and inconsistent. I'm going 8.
I can't.
All right. Well, now that the other side of the room can finally have
The young bucks can take over now.
Sorry, the old guys hijacked this. We're sorry.
the
No more
conversation.
talking.
Yeah, you guys are done for the rest of the day. Personally, I think the song was all right.
What a letdown after all that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been waiting to say all right for about 35 minutes now.
He's like Matthew McConaughey. It was
So-
all right.
You know what I'm saying? I do agree with Cousin Jeffro. The dude's voice is whack. I cannot say that it's good. There are times when I think you could almost be good, but it sounds like he can't keep it that way. So, I apologize on poor Ollie out there.
Call him Ollie.
Ollie.
Like you guys are buddies.
I love Ollie. That's my boy right there. Ollie Ant. And that's all I got. I'm good. We'll leave it there.
Yeah,
I forgot. 6. We'll go 6.
I'm like a mix between Cousin Jeffrey and Pops over there. I liked his voice, and I didn't like the fudge round part, but I gotta go with his score of a 6.5, 6.5 and 7.
Throwing it out there.
So
Fudge rounds are good, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think
But I don't
people
use
know
Wolfenstein
this
song.
because you actually touched on this at the beginning. You said something about you weren't aware of what he was saying when he said North of Richmond. You were thinking here.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's
I do
talking
not
about?
know what he's talking
Do you
about.
guys know what he's talking about?
Virginia?
He isn't?
He's literally where he's from. If you look on a map and you go north,
Yeah, isn't
it
it?
takes you to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I
You
was
see,
about to
okay.
say,
I did. That's what I was thinking, but okay.
Yeah. So that I didn't get to mention that because obviously we had a whole tangent. Again, sorry.
Yeah, I
Sometimes we're
started
gonna
looking at the
have.
map when they said something about Virginia. I started looking over there.
Well, and
Okay.
we talk about how we have
That's clever
organic
wordplay.
conversations. This was a clearly organic conversation that we kind of got off point. Pops and I, we still love each other.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I still think his
We-
whiny thing is
Unless Jeffrey starts
inconsistent,
whining.
and he thinks I'm a bleeding heart liberal.
We-
It is all good.
We will not be leaving passive aggressive comments to each other in the comments.
We'll say it to each other's face. And leave you 5
If
minutes
you guys
later.
want to know what happens to passive aggressive comments, you should go check out the corn video.
That's even more of a hot take than this, if you believe it.
And it's not even from him.
It wasn't.
So basically, this song was kind of pretty mixed for us, really. Wasn't
Yeah, it was
it?
pretty
Definitely it touched a
average
nerve in
song.
America. I guess for us, not so much, maybe.
it
Well,
was
a
mixed.
lot of American people cannot take things very lightly anymore, or they take everything so lightly, or whatever. However you want to say it.
Very hard to take things.
Very, yeah, there you go. That's the word. That's how I want to say it.
Serious.
Very serious.
All right, so Oliver, we may do
Ollie.
another one of yours. I don't know, buddy.
Technically, it was all above average, though.
Yeah.
It was.
There was no,
It was.
like,
Maybe if
Wow.
you could
There's no twos out here.
no twos
or ones.
Yeah.
ones. He was pretty masculine.